Okay, so how to make focaccia. Well, in this bowl there is 600 grams of strong white flour, 25 grams of yeast, 15 grams of salt. I use this bread yeast and some sea salt. Okay, strong white flour though, not plain. First of all, we need to mix it all up. I use a whisk to mix it, not to whisk it, not to mix the water, just get the salt and the yeast mixed in with the flour well. You don't want it all in one place. You want that yeast nicely distributed. Like that. Then to that you add 440 grams or 440 millilitres of tepid water, so that's water the same temperature as your hand when you put it in. You need to give it a mix round now. The idea is to try and combine the water with the floury stuff. It'll go a bit dry and a bit lumpy. Doesn't take long though, and then it will go all sticky again. That's what happens. I'm going to try and work out some way of standing this so I can hold it. So, hopefully you can see this. See, it's all a bit floury. Just keep working it, keep mixing it in. Eventually, get to a situation where it's all in one lump like this. And we're ready to give it a little bit of a knead. Right, before you try and pick up the dough, you're going to need to put some olive oil on your hands, otherwise it all goes horribly wrong. You end up with dough absolutely covered on your hands, and no doubt it does something great for your skin as well. Right, there we are. So scrape it off the spoon. We're going to grab the dough. And all I'm going to do is stretch it out a bit. If it starts to get sticky to you, put it back in the bowl. Get the oil from the back of your hands. Recover your hands. It won't be perfectly smooth at this point. The yeast needs to do its job. So drop it in there in a big ball like that. Cover it, leave it for 2 hours. Okay, so 2 hours has passed. You can see that the dough has gone all bubbly inside the cling film here. Just take the cling film off. I'll show you inside. So there we are, bubbly dough. What we're going to do, not going to touch it with dry hands because we'll get covered in dough again. What we'll do is we're going to take our baking tray, because we're going to need this in a minute. Going to chuck some oil on my hands again. And I'm also going to chuck a load on the baking tray. You don't want to be too stingy. Get a good layer in there, because otherwise it will stick. And then you'll have to crack it off the bread, off the baking tray. And we're going to slosh oil all over it anyway, so we may as well just make life easier for ourselves. Right, so oil on the tray. Next, need the dough. You can see I'm just gathering it from the outside here. Smells fantastically yeasty at this point. It's all the yeast munching away at all the carbohydrates in the flour. You know, munch, sugars there. Okay, so I take the dough there. You can see it's much slacker now and much smoother. You just pull it out and stretch it out on the thing there. Cool. I'm making a video.
I thought you were talking to Alex.
No, I'm talking to the video player. Okay. Right, so you stretch it out to fill the bottom of the thing here, and then you want to just sort of kind of massage it really, just sort of push it into the edges. Just give it a little push each way, and just let it. So, and these, you can see I'm using my fingertips there just to make little dimples in the surface, and that's really important for later on where we put the oil and the water and the herbs in there before we bake it. Okay, now what I've done to that point there, I will now leave that for at least half an hour, but this one actually is going to sit here overnight. It can sit here for a good few hours now, and in the morning it will have grown up again, but I'll just bash it back again and it'll grow again when it's in the oven, and it'll still be lovely. So, end of the next stage. Okay, final piece for this evening. Got a glass with some water in it, not too much. I'm going to put some oregano in there. Put any sort of herbs that you want in there, mixed herbs or whatever. I like oregano. I'm putting that into the water. Mix it with a fork. And then I'm going to add some olive oil onto there as well, fair amount. You probably won't need as much as this. I'm making 2 loaves. I'm doing 2 focaccias tonight, so that's enough for 2 really. But you can see that the herbs are in the oil there and mixed with it, and that'll just get them nice and hydrated so that they don't burn when it's in the oven. I'll leave that overnight as well. Oh, good morning. We can see that the bread is now risen again. It's obviously covered in cling film. I will try and carefully lift that off and try and sort this out ready for the oven. And right, okay. Once you've done that, all you need to do is take your water and oil mixture and to just scatter that all over the surface. There's no real trick to that. Just get a good covering. I like to put some olives on. Like that. And finally, just a good scattering of molten sea salt crystals, and then that needs to go into the oven at 210 degrees for about 15-20 minutes until it's nice and golden. And there we go. That's the sort of colour you're looking for, just dark and going brown in places, but nice and light. Otherwise it'll be too crunchy.